First day of OTAs. We're already here, guys, and we're here to talk about it. We're here to talk about a player that needs to stay healthy for depth purposes. And if that's not the case, they could be trouble at this position when it comes to the depth. And we're going to be talking about a former player that's still giving another team a headache, and the Eagles do not have to worry about that anymore. So we have a lot to discuss here. So let's get straight into it all.
A killer buried, but not dead.
Darren, we better turn around. Because I've seen enough horror movies to know any weirdo wearing a mask is never friendly.
Yo, what is going on, guys? I hope it's having a fantastic day today. So here we are. I mean, it's already here. I mean, it's crazy how you win the Super Bowl, you go through free agency, you go through the draft, and finally you are here at OTAs. First day of OTAs already in the books for the Philadelphia Eagles. Just remember, guys, there's a few more practices. There was no media at the first practice. There will be for the second practice as you're watching this video today. But you will have a few more days of OTAs. You will have a June 10th practice for minicamp, and then you will have to wait until mid-July for Eagles training camp for the 2025 season, which we will see what's going on every single day. Okay. This is a time for a lot of the rookies, getting familiarity with the coaches, seeing what the Eagles do at practice, seeing how much the guys are in shape and things like that, what they've been doing in the offseason, no full pads or anything like that. So this is always a good time to see the players kind of get back into the groove of things, because once you're in OTAs, you're getting one step closer to training camp and one step closer to the preseason games. And the season will be here before you know it. So it's nice to see these guys at OTAs. There's been no holdouts for OTAs, which is a big one, which is good. I don't know why anybody would hold out, but you got to talk about it, right? So that looks good on that front. Now I want to talk about a position that I think could take a big hit if this player does not stay healthy. Okay, now AJ Dillon, okay, is definitely one player. A lot of players did not sign him this year. Okay, whether there were a lot of teams did not have interest. There was probably a couple teams, but worrisome of an injury that he's had, and that was a neck injury that AJ Dillon has not played. He hasn't played in a regular season game since December of 2023. That's how long it's been. So he missed the end of 23 to realistically the entire year of 2024. Okay, now joins the Eagles coming off a Super Bowl, a really nice 1-2 punch with Saquon Barkley and AJ Dillon, and most likely will have a third back, since I think they're going to keep 3 running backs on this roster. Okay, Will Shipley is now going to go into his second year with an offseason program, another offseason program under his belt to see, we haven't really seen much of him. I think in 2 games, we saw him in open space in the passing game. We've seen him as a dual threat back, that he's very capable of being that. And I'm excited to see more of him. I know we have a couple undrafted free agent running backs we're going to take a look at, and some other guys as well. But I think AJ Dillon is really the difference maker here. As long as he doesn't get treated like the Rashad Penny treatment, he's probably one of the most balanced backs you're going to see out there, especially in the passing game, where you want to throw behind the line of scrimmage and throw to him in open space. And he's got some versatility with himself, some dual threat versatility. He can move around the field a little bit, and when he runs north and south, he brings some physicality that he will carry 3 players on his back and get some extra yards, tire out some defenses, tire the line out. So you can really use him as a finisher at the end of these games, or however they want to use him. But I really hope that he's going to be more efficient, and he's going to be healthy, and he's going to be more productive. Remember, the Eagles love to use Kenneth Gainwell on 2-minute offense. When there's 2 minutes left in the second quarter, they like to use Gainwell a lot. Now you don't have him; he's with the Pittsburgh Steelers now. So I'm wondering if they're going to use AJ Dillon the same way. Or do they use him maybe in the second half, or maybe they're going to give Will Shipley a bigger role in this backfield behind Saquon Barkley? So we'll see. But it really comes down to A.J. Dillon staying healthy, and if he doesn't, then I think they're going to be in a little bit of trouble now, because they really have to be careful with Saquon snaps this year. And I think they're going to just run him. I think they're going to run the crap out of him regardless, and I have no issue with that. But as long as his body is feeling good, and obviously he takes a toll on his body throughout the year. We all know this. He just ran for over 2,000 yards last year, and it's going to be hard to run for another 2,000. And hopefully, AJ Dillon could really stay in there. If they feel like they're going to be dealing with some injury that's going to linger on throughout the regular season, they're just going to get rid of him. They know they have Saquon Barkley, so they already feel safer than safe. But you never know. Saquon Barkley, He's been relatively healthy, and if you need somebody else and you don't have AJ Dillon, is Will Shipley going to be, ready for the season? Can he be the back, the number 2 back behind Saquon? I'm not really sure. I kind of been going all over the place with this running back position, but AJ Dillon's health is really the benefactor of the depth to this running back position, especially like I said, the depth. We're really talking depth behind Saquon Barkley because we really don't have the issue with Saquon Barkley. Thought that was really interesting. Well, the Eagles made a good signing, another signing off the board for the rookies, okay? And Cameron Williams from Texas is finally signed, a 6th-round pick, gets his deal. And I can't wait for the tackles. I think the Eagles are pretty set for this year and the future. Like, I'm already excited about Miles Hinton from Michigan. I think he'll be the replacement for Lane Johnson after 26. Mark my words. Cameron Williams has played a lot of left and right tackle in college, and I think would be a nice swing tackle for the next few years if they could, produce him the right way and kind of get him going. Remember, you have that 32, 33-year-old and Kendall Lamb that they signed very early in the offseason. He's coming off an injury, older tackle, but a swing tackle if it is needed. So I'm not sure if he only plays left. I think he does play both, but he could be purely a left. So when it comes to the tackle position and the depth behind it and the future of what Jeff Stoutland could do with these guys, I think they're in a pretty good spot right now. So Cameron Williams signs his deal. The deal is done. And, can't wait to see what these guys do in training camp. Yeah, we're going to be talking about some old news that has come up again. Okay, now it comes down to Assan Reic, and I can't believe that this is still going on. Okay, so remember, the Eagles traded Assan Reic to the Jets. The Jets didn't have a contract ready. And Assan Reic held out of OTAs. He held out of preseason games. He held out of training camp. He held out of a few games for the Jets. I think he played in like 8 games, maybe a couple sacks, 3 sacks. I don't know how much it was. To get the 2nd-round pick from the Jets, Assan Reic had to play a certain amount of percentage of snaps, and he had to have 10+ sacks for the year with the Jets. Now, people were asking, does this affect the Philadelphia Eagles draft pick for next year? Since now he's not with the Jets, he is on another team. No, it is going to stay the exact same. So the Eagles will not get a 2nd-round pick for that conditional 3rd. They will have the 3rd-round pick for 2026 just because he was with the Jets and he already played over there. So regardless if he even went to the Jets and didn't play the entire year, not even 1 snap, it would not matter. The Eagles will still have that 3rd-round pick. He signs with Tampa Bay. Okay, signs with Tampa Bay for $15.5 million, which that's what he was getting paid with the Eagles for that 1 year. So they gave him the 1-year deal that he wanted. And then he's skipping OTAs with Tampa Bay now. So I don't know what's going on with that. Kind of confusing to me. I mean, he's just wasting time because he's already 30 years old. By the time the Eagles signed him, he would have been 30. Okay, and in the 2024 offseason, the Eagles didn't want to pay him that much. And I think it affects the Eagles because, I think Howie Roseman made a mistake. I think they panicked and they signed Bryce Huff to $17 million a year, and that just wasn't the right situation for us. That wasn't the right signing for us. And off of 1 10-sack season, and he didn't give us even a quarter of that, even 1% of that. Okay, I think he has like a half a sack for the year. I don't know what it is, a sack and a half for the year, something like that. We congratulate Howie on a lot of things, but we always point out the things that he fucks up on, and he totally screwed up on this. Doesn't even matter because Reddick was going to walk. Reddick was going to hold out with the Eagles. The Eagles decided, let's rip the Band-Aid off and just trade him at this point because the Eagles were not going to deal with any type of holdout, and that's where we're kind of at with the Assan Reic stuff, the draft pick that came with it, because people were talking about it, and I was like, no, it's the same. It doesn't change anything. So that's where we're at with Assan Reic. Make sure you subscribe to the channel for more Eagles news every single day, and make sure you like the video because it helps out tremendously. We'll be covering every day of OTAs, every day of training camp, come mid-July, all that great stuff, you name it. And I will see you guys in the next one. Remember, shakes what up, follows live. Peace out, guys. Peace.